All right, so guys, let's talk about Tyreek Hill. He had 13 catches, totaling 269 yards, 3 touchdowns for Sunday's game. So tell me this, Nolan, is he the best wide receiver in football?
This is going to be a question, and that is revolving around pretty much every week, whichever receiver has the best performance. For me, I'm not going to say he's the best receiver. I'm going to say he's the best weapon. He fits perfectly with Patrick Mahomes. You put Tyreek Hill with the Jets or Tyreek Hill with, say, the Saints, right, where you do have a quarterback that isn't throwing the ball downfield as much, I don't think he's as productive as he is. For me, I still think there are a few better receivers in the National Football League. Davante Adams has been an absolute tear this year. Michael Thomas is still absolutely ridiculous. Whatever you want to say, the slants, it doesn't matter. He produces and puts up big numbers. And DeAndre Hopkins, of course, is a monster. We saw that a couple weeks back. They are all ahead of Tyreek Hill for me. But, guys, we're forgetting about a guy in Los Angeles, too. Keenan Allan has been phenomenal. He's been so good.
Slept on.
Basically just him and Justin Herbert doing as much as they can and trying to keep their team in games, and they've been doing that, where their defense has been awful and the O-line's been awful. So for me, Tyreek Hill isn't there yet. He's the best weapon, similar to almost like a Lamar, where they can do so many different things. Not the best receiver. He's not the most complete quite yet.
I'm so glad you brought up Keenan Allan because he's one of the more underrated receivers, in the National Football League. And when I came out with that video at the start of the year, it was a toss-up between Tyreek Hill and Keenan Allan. But I agree with you, Nolan. I think he's in the perfect position. You have a guy who could throw it 80 yards down the field. And with someone who can run, 40 yards, and it seems like, 2 seconds? That's how fast it seems like he can run. It's just a match made in heaven. And it came out that Tyreek Hill actually thought Mahomes was trash. I don't know if he thinks that when they first drafted him, he's like, this is the guy you drafted? I think he's pretty happy right now. So I agree with you. I don't think he's the most complete wide receiver. I would still put Davante Adams up there. And Nolan, you didn't even mention another guy, Julio Jones. He's still in the NFL. I still think he's better than Tyreek Hill as well. But as a pure weapon, you nailed it spot on. This guy, not only can he catch the ball deep, and he's got great hands. His route running has improved. You can even put him in the backfield, and he can run. He's faster than running backs in this league too, and he's pretty strong, and you can't really get him down that easily. So Tyreek Hill, of course, he's a great weapon, but he's also in the perfect system. I don't think he's the best complete wide receiver, like you said, Nolan.
I fully agree with both of you guys. You guys are both spot on. I mean, yeah, he's the best weapon in the league, hands down. But when you're looking at that wide receiver position, I mean, you know what? Tyreek Hill, the man shows a lot of heart for what he lacks in height compared to a lot of these other wide receivers. And when he's out on the field, he produces. Like, he shows up and he puts in his work. The problem I find with him is if he's not one-on-one and you really bracket him, like we've seen Bill Belichick do several times, you can really take him out of a game. For him to show up, it really has to be certain types of temperatures and everything has to be exact. And, yeah, with playing with a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, who can really fling it like you guys have said, that's easy. What I look at for Tyreek Hill, if you were to switch him to another team, I look at players like a Andre Johnson with Matt Schaub or like a Larry Fitz when he was playing with Matt Leinart. Do you think that they're going to, he'd be able to produce with these other quarterbacks the same way those guys were able to produce? I don't know if he'd be able to do that so much when I look at if you took him and put him with some of these, lesser quarterbacks in the league. I just don't see it for him. But you know what? I'm going to say this. I think compared to all these other wide receivers now, these other wide receivers have their own stories to tell. If we look at Mike Thomas, Hopkins, Davante Adams, they all have their own stories to tell where they are. But right now, I'm going to say that Cheetah, you're the only book we're reading right now. You're the only wide receiver mans are heavily interested in, because if you're putting up, 206 yards, I think it was, in the first quarter, boy, there's something to worry about down the road for everybody and every defense that has to come up against him. Right now, might not be the best, but his name should definitely be mentioned.
I will say something else, and obviously there's just a small part of the game. On third down, where do you think Mahomes throws to? I don't think it's Hill. I think it's Kelsey. Near the goal line where you got to find your target who's going to get open and can maybe jump over a DB or a linebacker. It's Kelsey. So I think that has a slight factor. And I know that's just one part of the game, right? But with one throw, if you're throwing to one guy on that offense within the red zone, I think it would be number 87, not Hill.
Yeah, I can agree with you. Again, he's just such a weapon, like you said, right? Like if you need 50 yards, okay, sure, I'd probably bomb it to Tyreek Hill. But when the going gets tough and you got to bang in a yard or two, it's probably Kelsey. I agree with you. Even Watkins, I think, might be over him as well.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I guess the one thing, too, that we can also say is that after this game, he definitely has a lot of eyes on him. So it will be interesting to see where his career ends up landing him.